G'day, this is Reignited. This video today is just about a bit of an update that I've done with some of my aquarium setups. Changed a few things around and just wanted to share it. Just wanted to waffle on about it again as usual. This tank here, my bookshelf Tetra tank, seems to look like a bit of a mess at the moment. I had a Anubias pot in here, or terracotta pot with Anubias growing on it. It got a bit too tall for this size tank, so I moved it outside in a pond just so it can thrive a little bit better out there. And it also gives the tetras a bit more swimming space. I had a coolie loach in here too. I've put him outside in the pond so we can have fun cleaning up the substrate in the pond. And also I had some cherry barbs in here which have been put outside into their own pond as well. Being the fact the two females were starting to get a little bit plumpy, so I'm guessing they had eggs in them. And it's a bit hard for them to breed with all these tetra distractions around. Most breeds I find tend to breed better with their own kind or on their own. So I'm just going to stick to that general rule by putting the cherry barbs outside and hopefully they'll breed. I've also got 3 species of tetras left in here. I'm going to wind up picking one. I'm going to probably lean more to the neon tetras. Not sure where I'll put the glow lights yet. Just got to find another little home for them. Little ember tetras, I'm going to move them into this new setup which I've made. It's a paludarium. It's a little bit murky because I stirred up the substrate when I planted some Brazilian micro sword. And I've got some Siri stain here just to hide the sponge filter at the back. And I've just scaped an island sort of style here. I've got some sphagnum moss on the top there, and then I've got some of this carpeting plant which I found outside near the pond. I can't remember the name of that carpeting plant, but it loves very humid environments. It loves water. It will grow in water, and it will thrive in water. So it's a great plant for keeping your water quality good, and it looks really nice in the paludarium set up here. I've gone for propagating sand, which I've rinsed several times with hot water. And then I've gone for some backyard soil as the substrate. Again, a lot of people I find don't like backyard soil in aquariums. But as I said on my other video the other day, backyard soil is nutritious and it's good for growing plants in your aquarium. And it's kind of like nature's way of replicating the cycle itself. You know, if you look at dams and naturally made ponds, they are naturally formed on soil or earth soil, which is basically everywhere. So I've got 2 opinions on that. Aqua soil is expensive, and yes, it does a great job. And yes, if you add too much, you do get a spike in ammonia, and it does clear over time. Same thing with backyard soil. You just got to let it sit, let your plants establish, and then hopefully your ammonia levels will drop before you can introduce any stock in there, which is why I'm leaning to putting in these ember tetras. They're very small, they produce very little waste, and I've got 3 of them there which would look great in this little setup here. Just another update on the guppy fries setup here. The banana lilies got some new little lilies that are coming out, and we've got the Ludwigia here, some new shoots trying to root down to the substrate. I've got some Vallisneria from outside in the pond, a little baby that formed, so I planted that there. Got some Brazilian micro sword which I took from this tank, and it's going to grow along the back wall of this tank. Water wisteria is starting to emerge a bit better. It was just a little cutting I grabbed from outside again. This Java fern here is rotting on the leaf. I think it's possibly because when I moved it I was too rough of it, or maybe it's to do with these snails interfering with it, which is quite funny because this Java fern here, there's not one bit of leaf rot on it, and it's got snails on it everywhere all the time. Not right now, but it normally does. I think it's just how it is with plants. You're sort of damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You just gotta do your best and hope for the best. A general rule is if you just put them in there gently, they normally acclimate to their conditions, and normally they'll thrive if your water's not overly toxic. Just going back to this tank, the reason I got the loach and the cherry barb out, the loach was just making an absolute filthy mess of the substrate, as well as digging up a lot of my plants, which I don't want. That was definitely a test run and it failed, and that's why he's out in the pond now. And I did have a lot of this sort of Java moss here, which was sort of carpeting everything nice, and the loach sort of ripped it all up. So I've just sort of bunched it back there to hide the pump a little bit. I might just leave this tank as a simple look. I'll just have like a sort of like a tidal wave of moss just sort of growing there, hide the pump. Some of this duckweed I've cleared out by using this air stone to keep a light gap there, or a gap for the light to come through. And I've also got an extra outflow on the pump just in the back here. I don't know if you can see there. That's also just to stir up the surface a bit to stop the duckweed. And out of all honesty, I wouldn't care if all the duckweed rotted away in this tank, because it is just a pain to manage sometimes, because this system works off 3 sumps, and I can grow some duckweed in here just to keep the water nutrients down without letting it get into the main environment. I haven't turned this light on here yet, I'll just turn it on. Normally I don't turn Cozzie's light on until afternoon because we've got natural light, but I'll turn this back light on. So as you can see here, the beta is still pretty relaxed in here. I'm also thinking of moving him to a new home. I'm actually thinking of moving him into this tank. I'll put these other 2 baby guppies in here in the guppy fry tank, and the endler could maybe go outside with the other guppies in the other pond and just sort of mix and breed with them. I would like to get a proper purebred group of endlers eventually and put them outside in a pond and let them go crazy and do their thing. This is the baby beta tank. I've started cleaning this up a bit. I got rid of all the lava rocks in here and put them outside into a new pond that I built. And then I moved the spiderwood Java moss tree to the back there, and hopefully as that moss grows it should hide that filter there a bit better. You got 1 beta up there. I've also trimmed the pothos roots, relocated the pothos side there where the light's not so hard on it. That's pretty much my update for now inside. It's a work in progress. I will do another video about my updated pond work, as well as my plants outside, which I've been working on. Thank you for hearing me waffle on again. This is Artistry Ignited. Tune in again soon.